yeah, in the end, I actually went and had my hair cut last week. When was it? Well, it was a week ago last Monday. God, the time's going quickly actually. And I'm quite pleased that, because I don't know if anyone's seen, my hair was literally, I could sit on it and it was starting to look a bit straight, and it's looking a bit frizzed up now because I've been in the wind. But what happens when it's gets really long, it kind of goes straight. So I'm, because it's heavy, so I feel it feels a bit better. You can't really tell, it looks quite brown here, but in actual fact, this funny light, it's really very blonde on top, so it's quite a nice colour. And I had this mad idea that I wanted to dye it pink. The lady in the shop had this really nice shade of purple in her hair, and of course they were like, oh, is your hair naturally blonde? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, well, normally they have to dye people's hair blonde, and then put the dye in it. But I'm fortunate that I have these, what they call natural highlights. So it's actually really, really blonde at the moment. Same as my eyebrows. And my arm hair, which is good, of course. Yeah, could be worse. So I thought, oh, is it proper midlife crisis to do a semi-permanent kind of pink thing? Anyway, I phoned up to go and have a look. She was going to dye. She cut some bits off to test different shades for me to show me, but she's gone on holiday, so I'm going to have to think about it a bit more, by which point I might not. I might decide that I don't want it, but I don't know, because they're all going, but your hair's such a beautiful shade naturally, and I'm like, oh, damn. But it's not permanent. I could, there's this sort of rebel in me, just because people don't want me to do it. I just want to do it, there's this bit of a perpetual stroppy 14-year-old that lives inside of me all the time, wants to do stupid things. And, so I, there was that. And then I went and did that. And then when I sold my house, I gave each of the boys a bit of money, just a couple of £100 each, and which felt really nice, because I feel like I've been on the brink of poverty for a long time, actually, basically since I've been on my own. And which is now, would you believe it, I've been divorced for I'll be 12 years sober in March, and I was 3 years sober when we broke up. So it's coming up to 9 years. I've been, well, not divorced 9 years, but, on my own. And I've had to say no to a lot of things to the boys, and with things, although some might say that I will tend to put, give them stuff, and over the anyone with kids will know sometimes I've been a bit overly, generous with them, I think. And but anyway, I haven't been able to give them lumps of money to buy them stuff that they really want, and I don't mean in a things like, I got Duncan a whole load of new fishing gear for sea fishing, and that just felt really good. And Hamish had wanted this special wheel for his Xbox for God knows how long, and I got him one of those, and I gave Angus some money for uni. That just feels really nice to be able to do that. And then what else did I do? And Dad and I were talking actually about, because I think we've both been a bit like, oh crikey, it almost feels like it's never going to happen, but then we felt like that a bit when we sold our houses. It seemed to take ages, and we were like, oh, is it ever going to go, but with this, and I think because of where we are, we've both given up the roots that we had laid over the last, well, Dad for the last 40 years and me over the last sort of almost 20 years. And that's the longest I've ever been in one place, ever. Prior to that, I was, as I say, pretty much nomadic. Anyway, but we were talking about it last night, I think, actually, and we were saying, actually, it could be a hell of a lot worse. It could have been a hell of a lot worse. Because in actual fact, what's happened since we've been here is we're part of a community here. So we're actually, you know, there are permanent people living here. We've got Andy, who's in the house and owns the campsite. We've got lovely Phil, who lives in the caravan over there, and he'll help you with anything. You know, he's, and he and I just, like, we have a real laugh together, and we've like turned into this, like, he's like having a big brother on the side, and he, you know, he'll turn up. I'll be standing there talking to someone seriously in the campsite, and then realise that he's been stood there like this behind me for the last, you know, 5 minutes or whatever. Or he'll come up, but yeah, it sounds really mean, or he'll come up to me, like, I'll be standing talking to someone, and he'll push my knees in, and I'll collapse in a heap on the floor, and that might not sound terribly funny, but, and then, you know, just really funny things. We were talking outside the caravan last night. It was dark, and of course we're on a campsite. Everyone's in their tents. Everyone can hear everything. And as he walks away, he says really, really loudly, "Yeah, I'll get some more cash out tomorrow and come back for your additional services tomorrow night." And I was like, "You're such a bastard." And it was just really, really funny. And it might not sound funny to you, it's the way I tell him, but you know, it's that kind of, we've been accepted, and Andy's son lives next door, and we stop and have a chat. He's lovely. And then there's the neighbour next door, Tim, as well, and she'll have a chat with her dog. And then Helga and Craig live the other side, and she looks after all the sheep, and her son's there. And, you know, Peter in the farm down there. And, do you know, it's really sad, because Peter in the farm down there, he's literally just selling his 80-acre farm, right? And his family have been in the farm for like almost 100 years. And I think he lost a son, and the son that's left doesn't want the farm, right? So they're giving it up. He's in his late 70s. And I haven't been here that long, but I feel heartbroken about this. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, oh my God, if I had some more money, I'd take the farm on and learn how to be a farmer or something, you know. And today they just had like a massive auction in the field next door of like all of the farm equipment, and you could hear it all day. And I tell you what, it was hilarious, because I went out for my little walk, and I'm walking down the road, and I was like, what the hell? There was like cars everywhere. And of course, you don't see a car for hours and hours, or sometimes all day. But it was so funny, because all these people turning up, and you had the odd nice car, but they're basically all Land Rover Defenders with great big trailers on, and people turning up in tractors and things like that, because obviously they've got to, if they buy things, they've got to take back this huge stuff. And you could hear the auction going on all day, and Andy went because he wanted to get a roll of that. Yeah, and I felt really bad, because like when I go down there for my walks, and Peter comes out to do something in his barn, he's on the corner, and he always stops for a chat, and you know, he's proper Cornish, and it's just really, really nice. And now it's getting to that point where I'm walking around the lanes, and somebody will wave because I've met them, you know, we've had a chat, and I know them now, and it's lovely, and I feel part of a community. But also, even on the campsite, we've met some really nice people. And I tell you, when you're feeling in a really shitty space, and then somebody stops to have a chat with you on the campsite, and it's a really nice interaction, you know what, God, that lifts you out of yourself. It really does. So, you know, we were saying, actually, things could be a hell of a lot worse. The three of us could have been stuck in a tiny house together, just the three of us together, and I swear to God, we probably would have killed each other by now. But having the option to go and speak to other people, if you want to, dilutes that whole we're not living on top of each other as a family, which is really nice. Hold on.